Nathan made me watch Surviving Christmas.
To be fair, you've made me watch much worse.
I defy you to name a lesser film.
Hollywood Homicide made me crave a hearse.
Okay.
Then there was also Ben and Arthur.
That's fair.
Also 9 Lives as well.
All right. Maybe we can just wrap it up. I get it.
Pearl Harbor was 3 hours of pure hell.
Okay, somebody cue the theme song. Somebody.
Then I had to...
You know when I pick a movie, that's when I'm under pressure now. The question always comes back to me, what were they thinking now? Whoa, what were they thinking? What were they thinking?
And that's why I'm glad the Beatles broke up.
Wow. Guys, if you missed the middle, that song is actually about 6 minutes long.
I was on a roll there. I was a good riffing and some good some rhyming couplets was really good.
But they'll hear all of it. Don't worry.
Oh,
I won't edit any of it out.
Oh, excellent. Okay, good.
No, they'll hear the whole thing from start to finish.
Good.
I am Brendan.
I'm Nathan.
And you're listening to What Were They Thinking?
It'd be great if we just did an all musical podcast.
Yeah, I am
Ben
classically trained.
Affleck and James Gandolfini.
Catherine O'Hara's there too.
Everyone was amazing. Too bad the script wasn't
When there was one
to be had.
Yeah, folks, we're talking about the 2004 quote-unquote comedy, Surviving Christmas, starring Ben Affleck and the late James Gandolfini.
Don't forget Udo Kier is in there. Because you can't have a Christmas movie without Udo Kier.
Nothing warms my heart like Udo Kier.
That's his warm German visage.
Yeah, he's on screen for conservatively 45 seconds.
It's one of my favorite parts of the movie, though.
It's one of the strangest parts of the movie as well.
It's one of my favorite parts of the movie.
So, yeah, we're going to talk about Surviving Christmas. Of course, it is December, and we are going to have 2 Christmassy movies this month.
It'll be a holly jolly good time.
Yeah, this was Nathan's first choice. This film, now before we of course jump into it, we got a little bit of background to go through here. The movie was directed by Mike Mitchell, who you may not know by name, but he previously wrote for SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, that explains that.
Yeah, there's an appearance by Tom Kenny, right?
Yeah, in the first of the movie, I was like, that's Tom Kenny. What's SpongeBob doing in this movie?
And ironically enough, this movie was set to open at the same time as the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, and that is why they pushed it to October, so it was a Christmas movie in October.
Yeah, that's funny because they actually they made light of that when Affleck hosted Saturday Night Live that year.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, they made light of, why would you release a Christmas movie in October? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think he said something like Surviving Christmas is out right in time for Christmas in October or something like that.
Yeah. Well, there was actually a sketch where Fred Armisen was doing a character when they were making Gigli, and
yes.
he kept harassing Affleck during the movie.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's good on him for making fun of it too.
Yeah.
So Mike Mitchell also directed the classic film Deuce Bigalow, as well as the short-lived TV show Greg the Bunny.
Oh, I like that.
It definitely is like a cult show.
Yeah.
It had its moments. However, the writers of this movie were known primarily for Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh my God.
So we had some real clashing of different styles of filmmaking here. So apparently there were a lot of clashing egos with the writers and the director. So they brought on more writers basically at the 11th hour.
Because that always makes a movie better, adding more writers.
Always, yeah. Not the only movie it's ever worked for was Apocalypse Now in the history of the world. So here's the thing: the filming began without a finished script.
Ooh, danger.
The script was not done. DreamWorks realized that this movie was gonna end up good or bad. It was gonna end up a fucking mess. So this is why they released it in October. Otherwise, they were gonna be competing against. Listen to this competition: The Incredibles,
Ooh.
National Treasure.
Yeah.
It was a huge hit, like as good or bad as it was. And like I said earlier, ironically, SpongeBob SquarePants the movie had a budget of $45 million.
For this?
$45 million.
Oh my god.
I'm assuming 20 of it was Ben Affleck.
Well, Gandolfini was also at a kind of a peak with his career too, so they probably would have paid some coin for him.
So, did you see what it grossed?
No, I did not.
Okay. Worldwide, it grossed $15 million.
Oh.
Do you want to take a guess at where in the top 10 it opened at the U.S. box office?
Like, third?
7th.
Ouch.
Opening weekend, 7th place.
Oh boy.
So we're starting off with a bang here. The one other thing I wanted to mention, just going back to the whole idea about the script not being finished, and that a lot of it was apparently there's a lot of improv in this movie. Gee, you really can't tell. The only problem is there's only really one performer in this movie with a lot of improv experience, and that's Catherine O'Hara, and she barely does anything.
Yeah, it's I don't know, this movie, like, I remember when I picked this, and you were like, oh boy, and I told a couple other people that was going to be our next movie, and they were like, oh my god, good, best of luck with that, because that movie is, and I remember watching it on DVD when it came out, and I was like, is this the movie that everybody hated? Like, it's not terrible, it's not good, it's just kind of, forgettable.
Yeah,
it's a toss away kind of movie. But I don't never understood the hatred that this got, because at least everybody in the movie was trying.
I will say too that my gut reaction after watching it the first time, yes, again, I do watch everything twice, and sometimes I pay the price for it. But after the first time, I did message you and say, "Oh my god, that was terrible." But I will say the second time it wasn't as bad. I think it's just because I don't know what it was. Just the first viewing was a lot harder to get through than the second time.
Yeah, I guess
it's a mess.
Like, it is definitely it's all over the place as far as the tone of the movie, for sure.
Yeah,
because there's parts in it where it's just theater of the absurd, and then they have to bring it in for, like, a touching, caring moment where everybody has to be kind of like good people, and it's definitely a shift from what you was seeing in, like, the previous scene. And then, what you're probably going to see in the next scene.
And here's the thing, too. It bugs me when a movie pretends like it has balls, like this movie kind of does for the first little while. Like, it's like, ooh, we're going to be a little bit more edgy, a little darker. Like, it's PG-13, so it's not quite a family movie. But then it kind of, like, it wusses out at the end.
You have all that opening where everyone's, like, just being miserable. You got a shakedown Santa.
There's a suicide.
The lady sticks her head in the oven.
There's an old woman who attempts to kill herself.
SpongeBob can't get his wrapping shit together and just throws his present right out the window.
Right. Like, that is in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's almost like why I appreciate movies like Bad Santa, because a movie like Bad Santa kind of establishes right away, okay, this movie is going to be dark, it's not going to take any prisoners, and we're not really going to, like, sugarcoat it.
Yeah, there's going to be very few redeeming qualities about anybody, and it's going to remain that way for the entirety of the movie.
Yeah, and I've got no problem with, like, uplifting Christmas movies, but this one, the tone is very problematic, which we'll get into, obviously.
You think that could be the fact, though? I mean, that with the, stew of writers that they had?
Oh, God. No, that probably not.
I'm guessing that, the way things were going initially, it was going to be a situation where, there's very little redeemable qualities to anybody. And the studio or somebody else was like, no, we gotta tick this up at the end. We need to send the folks home happy. No one wants a depressing Christmas movie.
Yeah, but like there are like parts like that throughout too, a little bit. Like there are weird moments in the movie of like levity where you're just kind of like, well, that doesn't really fit, but all right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so opening montage aside.
Yeah.
Let's dive into Ben Affleck's
ad campaign years.
Ad campaign for pre-spiked eggnog.
I did like the ad because it was a super honest ad.
Yeah. I got a question, though. Like, this movie is supposed to take place, obviously, very close to Christmas at the beginning of the movie, right?
Yep.
Should he not be trying to pitch a Christmassy type ad like in July?
This is true because, any ads that are going to be going to press or going to, I guess, air would be shot and put in the can usually by August or September, so they're ready to go when Christmas rolls around.
Yeah. And then later, like, when you see it, there's a scene where he's, like, drinking eggnog at home, and I almost thought for a second that was the eggnog he pitched earlier. I was like, there's no way.
It wasn't? I thought it was.
Was it?
I thought it was. The same.
How is that even possible?
Well, it was the same, the same shape of bottle and everything. Here's the thing, like, it could be a pre-existing product, and they just wanted a new ad campaign for the Christmas year, or Christmas time of year.
Sure.
For next year, because there's no way that thing's making it to air before Christmas.
I like to imagine, though, again, as we mentioned, the script problems, that could have just been a total oversight as well. Like, oh yeah, he's got that eggnog from earlier. That's funny.
They do that sort of stuff a lot of times in movies where you'll see they'll do something, and anybody who even has like even a minor knowledge of how that system works, whether it be advertising or mechanics or anything, you watch it and you're like, wait a second, I don't think this director knows how things work.
Yeah, like math in Law-Abiding Citizen.
Exactly.
Okay, so he makes his speech. Everyone looks like really bored by it, but then afterwards, apparently it's a huge success.
You want us to tell our clients the only way they can deal with their families is by drinking?
No, it's by drinking your product, sir. Yeah. And then, I thought it was going to be a whole, like, nobody likes it. But as soon as he leaves, he's like, oh, I nailed it. And everyone's like, congratulations.
And, he's supposed to be kind of scuzzy. I mean, really, he's supposed to be a slime ball because he's an ad exec.
Mm-hmm. And he is rich beyond belief.
Yeah, he's definitely portrayed as a wealthy individual, that's for sure.
Okay. So I think this is where we meet Missy.
Yes.
This is his girlfriend. And she's in his apartment, which looks like a serial killer's apartment.
Because it's super stark. Like, Daredevil had more furniture. Okay, and not the Ben Affleck Daredevil, the Charlie Cox Daredevil from the Netflix series.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah, you haven't seen it, have you?
I haven't seen the new Daredevil series, but I believed you when you said the Daredevil movie. But okay, right off the bat, Missy is like, to me, it's like a cliche, like, villainous female name in a movie.
Yeah, and spoilers, it's revealed that she comes from money as well. That didn't strike me in this scene.
No, because I don't even think the writers knew when they wrote this scene.
That's a possibility.
because yeah, she seems very down to earth. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go visit my family and everything," and I'm just like, "Is this gonna end up being one of the villains?"
And that's because she gives him grief because he wants to go to Fiji with her, and she's like,
Christmas.
"At Christmas is the family holiday."
Yeah, and like I think as crazy as his offer is, I think her reaction's a bit over the top.
Well, we don't know how long they've been going out. But I mean, it's Ben Affleck in this movie as a character is at his absolute best and his absolute worst. Because as I was watching the movie and everything's kind of unfolding and stuff like that, if they're at a point where he wants to take her to Fiji away from her family for Christmas, he should have at the very least revealed why he's not a big Christmas guy.
Yeah.
You know?
You would think so.
Yeah. And they're like, he's like, well, I can't tell you that stuff because there'd be no mystery in our relationship with that. Come on, don't be like that.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
This whole movie is actually a Christmas episode of The Sopranos.
Oh!
Hey! Was the gobbledygoo? Yeah, so she basically breaks up with him at this point and says, I'm going to go spend Christmas with my family. I think you should do the same.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about improv earlier, this is definitely a scene of some of some crazy improv from Ben Affleck.
I'm not going to lie. I had fun watching this, him making all his phone calls.
He's just calling around.
At one point, he almost calls it Jewish Christmas.
Yeah.
That made me laugh. He makes some excellent points about babies as well.
About how they're no fun?
Well, they're no fun. They just sit there and they drool and they poop on you. I mean, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to like have a conversation. He's like just going on about how babies are awful.
Well,
because he's supposed to
your wife
be...
doesn't have to come. It could just be me and you.
Right. Because he's supposed to be this irredeemable, shallow person. It fits perfectly and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I will say right off the bat, I've got no problem. People give Ben Affleck grief as an actor from time to time. I think he's pretty solid in basically everything he's been in, Pearl Harbor aside.
Yeah, I've never had any real issues with Ben Affleck as an actor.
No.
You know, even the movies that are in are absolute terrible. You know what we should do next year? Reindeer Games.
Oh boy,
Yeah, that's a Christmas one for you.
That is a Christmas craptacular for sure.
But he's got range. The guy can deliver. I always felt that he gets a lot of what Brad Pitt used to get back in the day, where he's like he's man pretty, so no one wants to take him seriously or think he can act.
Well, you know, it's a damn good thing he can direct because he might have still had that problem now.
True. I will say. Sad Affleck Lonely Affleck rather is the saddest Affleck in the world. Because when he can't get a hold of anybody to spend Christmas with, he is so sad. And it's like, oh, Ben, come on, just dry your tears with your millions of dollars and, you know.
But I will say, for some reason, even though he is filthy rich, he cannot afford a decent TV tray.
Yes, because as soon as he puts the eggnog down, it buckles on
just buckles underneath. Like, why doesn't he have a table?
Well, like, tables cost money. You don't make millions of dollars by throwing away money on tables.
You're right. So you're saying the Dudley boys are not rich because they've broken so many of them.
Well, they're not rich with money. I mean,
okay.
They're rich with, I guess, love of fans.
Oh, I thought you were going to say fuck money.
I was not going to say that. That's Virgil.
Oh, okay.
Also,
and wrestling references in the case.
That's right. He's gonna drown his sorrows or ease his pain with this eggnog. It's 10 points. That's it. You're not gonna do too. He'd have to drink that whole bottle in order to crush the pain of his wallowing sorrow.
It is kind of funny too, yeah. You mentioned it because you'd think like he'd be down in like bourbon or something.
Yeah, wines are stronger than this eggnog.
He's drinking like a mixed drink. So basically, he okay. So this is another appearance by someone who probably is pretty good at improv comedy, but again, he's in this movie for about 2 minutes, and that's Stephen Root.
He is the best, isn't he?
Yeah, he's great. Stephen Root as like Ben Affleck's I guess ex now.
His ex-girlfriend's therapist.
And like, I'm sorry, but even his reaction at like, "You're Drew? Oh boy!" Like, I don't think that's even legal.
But I did like that exchange because, again, the tone of this movie at the very first is holding where it should be. Everything is just absurd, and the people involved are kind of not very good.
Yeah.
You know, where he's almost talking about his patient. He's like, I really can't say anything after he's already said like, oh my God, you're a disaster, essentially.
Yeah. And his horrible daughter.
And he's like, how did you even find me? He's like, well, I talked to your your service, and he said, incidentally, you should really either hold a higher standard or get better people. He's basically saying, fire this person at Christmas time.
I just paid off.
Yep.
Your people. You should probably fire them.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then they have some they have some terrible. I thought it was stupid anyway. That terrible gag about his daughter going into the X-ray machine or something.
Yeah, she crawls in after her puppy / teddy bear.
Yeah. But anyway, he gives him the advice. He says, "Listen, write everything down. Write your grievances down on a piece of paper. Burn them." And say, "I forgive you."
But he has to do it at a place that reminds him of his childhood.
So where does he go?
He goes to the house that he grew up in.
Right.
And pays a $72.50 cab fare.
Yeah.
To get there. He could have rented a car. Because, think about it. While he does end up staying there, after all this happens, his full intention was just to go there, take his grievances, burn them, and then leave.
Mm-hmm. So
it's $72.50 to get there. It's gonna be another $72.50 to get back. So you're looking at $145. He could have rented a car for less.
Yeah, I really don't understand, but I guess they're just harping on the whole thing where he just throws money away like it's nothing.
He does that a lot in this movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, to comical lengths, which, I mean, it is a comedy, but it's almost even over the top for this movie.
Yep. This
So
is where we kind of get introduced to the family.
Yeah, so we got James Gandolfini
As-
basically playing Tony Soprano.
Well, he's playing Tony Soprano, but he's a neutered Tony Soprano when you get right down to it, because Tony Soprano probably would have shot the guy.
I mean, instead of shooting him, he hits him in the head with a shovel and thinks he's killed him.
Yeah, but then tends to him, like takes him inside, and they look at it, like he's playing that kind of downtrodden, miserable, working class schlub.
Yeah,
which is he does masterfully.
Oh yeah, again, nobody in this movie is necessarily bad.
It's so weird, like for the last few movies that we've done where you're like, what a cast, why didn't this movie work out?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got James Gandolfini's in it, he's fantastic. Catherine O'Hara is amazing,
one of the most underrated comedians, I think.
Yes. Ben Affleck's in there. Christina Applegate, well post Kelly Bundy, so she's shown that she's got chops, she can act.
Yep.
A criminally underutilized Stephen Root is in there. Everything in this movie says it should work and should work well, but it doesn't.
No, it's a mess. Like, it's just a mess, and I think that's more about behind the scenes than anything in front of the screen.
Yeah. But we'll get back to it. He gets cranked over the head with a shovel while he's trying to burn his grievance list.
Yeah, well, he does it right in front of this house, and I'm sorry, Ben Affleck. Somebody else probably lives there, and if they're seeing you burn something in front of their house, they're probably going to react.
Yeah, no, James Gandolfini was absolutely in the right in this one.
I mean, I don't know about the shovel, type of reaction maybe.
You know what? It's the wintertime. You take what's near. What are you gonna? Here's the thing. Maybe he doesn't want to kill the guy. He just wants to brain him, just to disable him. Shovel's a really good tool for that, especially if you're hitting with the blunt side, not the edge side, but the blunt side. Grab a bat and bash this guy's head in, or get a gun and shoot him. Even though they are in Chicago, you just brain him with a snow shovel, like Bad News Brown would have tried to do to Hulk Hogan.
I will say too that when we said that he's basically Tony Soprano, but you mentioned he's more neutered. If this was Tony Soprano, again, yes, he would have shot him, and then it would have been credits. The movie would be over.
Yeah, bang! Woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. $100.
Shit. Maybe it's getting close to Christmas. Maybe they'll feel some remorse. But yeah, he knocks out Ben Affleck with a shovel. They drag him in. He wakes up. Oh, we also forgot that we get a little glimpse of because they have a son as well, and he has a little bit of a predilection for internet porn.
Yeah, well, as one is wont to do, especially with dial-up connections in the late 90s.
Yeah, and late 90s. By the way, this movie's 2004.
It looks like the late 90s.
Internet was like decent in 2004.
Yeah.
But he, and when I say like a little predilection for internet porn, I mean almost every scene he's looking at porn.
But it's the worst kept secret in the family because Gandolfini, he's like, we shouldn't have put that up there. He's never getting out we shouldn't have put the computer in his room. And Catherine Harris like, you know what? It's gonna help him get a job someday. It's like no one's ever gonna pay him for what he's doing up there.
Yeah. To me too, the reason I thought of Tony Soprano is when he was yelling at his son, it just reminded me of him yelling at I forget the kid's name. But
AJ?
Yeah, he always used to yell at him like pretty similarly to that.
Well, I mean, I you know what, Brandon Wall, I'm gonna fill you in something. It's an Italian thing.
Okay.
It's the Italian intercom. That's how you were summoned to any room in the house by your father.
I mean, he is not as bad a child as AJ, but
no, but he wouldn't have to be. Here's the thing: they could be a perfectly loving, functioning upper class family if they're Italian, and they need the child to come down for supper. It's, hey, get down here! Supper's ready.
Gamichi gobbledygoo.
Like it's gabagool, okay?
Gabagool,
Get it
sorry.
right. Jeez.
Gobbledygoo is a different thing. I made up.
Gobbledygooker? Are you making a Survivor Series 92 reference?
we are just 92.
It was 92, wasn't it?
1990, because it was the same year The Undertaker debuted.
Oh, was it 90? I thought it was 92 for some reason.
Everybody listening right now is like, "What are you talking about?"
We're talking about Hector Guerrera in a turkey suit, who was supposed to be the San Diego Chicken of the WWF.
Look it up if you don't believe us.
Yeah, read a book. Come on.
Read a book. Okay, so anyway, Ben Affleck recovers, and basically he's like, "Hey, so this is my childhood home. Would you give me a tour of the house?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay."
The squeaky stair.
What did we? You know what we used to call this?
The squeaky stair.
Yeah. I feel like that was an improv.
Well, you know what? Probably. But I also feel that's the point where she should have been like, get the fucking shovel again.
Oh, yeah. Because this man is clearly a psychopath.
He is off his meds.
He is insane. Yeah. Especially the moment where he says, "Why don't I just live with you?"
I think it would be a good idea if I lived with you.
Yeah, that would be cops immediately.
Well, no, just give him a second. Let him get to the $250,000 he's gonna give them to let him stay there for like 3 days.
$250,000. Yep. So it's supposed to be over 3 days. Is that what it is?
Something like approximately 3 or 4 days. Okay. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the contract that he got Clarence Mason to draw up.
Because there's a montage later, and it looks like it takes place over a long amount of time.
Yes.
Just based on like all the stuff that happens in it. There's like a lot of scenes, and it just looks. I was like, how long has he been there? Did he show up in like October and he's like, "Listen, can I stay with your family till January?"
Well, that's when the movie came out, so maybe.
There you go, and that makes more sense with the eggnog pitch now.
Yeah, they might be able to squeeze that in there. I think it's funny, like the like it's still what they're going for at this point with him. If you can ignore the fact that in a real life situation, you'd be like, get the guys with the long sleeve coats for this dude. I like the fact that they're using a gleeful, super happy individual versus, clearly miserable people. Because that does make for some good comedy. It can make for some good comedy. Here, they just keep hitting that one note, and they don't really do too much of it. It's just him antagonizing Tony Soprano.
Yeah, like I don't want to say it flatlines, but the needle doesn't move a whole lot.
No.
Like there's not a lot. It's basically one kind of idea the entire time.
Well, because he trashes the banister, and I'm gonna keep calling him Tony because I can't remember his name.
Well, let's call him Tony.
Okay, so he trashes the banister, and Tony's like, "You broke my banister." Yeah, sorry, no, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And then he goes and he eats the last of the salami. He's like, "You ate the last of my salami." Oh yeah, it was really good. Oh, did you? And it's just him, just needling him, not intentionally, but the entire time. And then of course, Tony's got to deal with the whole thing with, "I agreed to this."
Yeah,
because they make a point that he agreed to this without consulting the wife.
But you know what? I'm conflicted on that one because $250,000.
Yeah, my wife and I had the exact same conversation.
I think like once they found out the amount, they might be better with it.
I also made a good point to Patty when she asked me that. I was like, if I was the size of James Gandolfini and Ben Affleck was not Batman, yeah, I'd do it because I could probably take him in a fair fight.
Yeah,
like
you've already hit him in the head with a shovel.
Right. If things kind of went south, I'd be able to take this guy down. And so it's win-win. Either I get $250,000 or I, kill this person who tries to kill my family. It's only two ways that's going. There's no other way that situation's going.
Yeah, you've got it. Exactly. You've got your sheer strength as Tony Soprano. Like, you don't have much to worry about.
Right.
I get that he's like renting this family and that's the whole idea, but I was a little off. It kind of irked me a little bit every time he called them mom or dad.
That was weird. That was okay. I'm surprised they, especially Tony, with the way he was, he'd be like, "No, we're not doing that." But it might have been in the contract.
Well, that's another joke that gets played up a lot in this movie, is that every time something happens and they don't want to do it, Ben Affleck will say, "Hey, it's in the contract."
Right. So, like the thing with the Santa hat, because he says that it's in the contract that you have to wear the Santa Claus hat, like my dad did when we're shopping for a Christmas tree, which clearly tells you that in this contract there is a Santa Claus.
Boom.
Clause. Clause, like in a contract, like Santa Claus.
Boom. Nailed it. Yeah. So he's living with them now. We had the slow motion salami scene.
Oh, but we also went to get to the next part where they go shopping for the Christmas tree. Why doesn't Ben Affleck help him?
I thought that was weird too.
Because he's supposed to be trying to enjoy a full Christmas experience. Why won't he help Dad put the tree up onto the car so they can drive it home?
Is it because he's like acting like a child?
You know what? It goes to, well, spoilers. It goes to the fact that he never really had that experience with his dad, so maybe he doesn't know how to act in that situation.
Yeah, and Tony even calls for his real son to come out and help him, and he just sits there because he's drawing naked ladies on the window.
Patty thought that was hilarious.
I just think it's like the movie really hammers that home. Like, no, I get it. He's likes
obsessed.
porn.
Yes, he likes the naked women's.
Yeah. So we go back and we get the Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
They're there, but before we light it up, gotta sing "Oh Christmas Tree."
Oh, Yes.
It's not that bad of a scene. I'll give it that.
It was that actually. That is where a situation where the overly gleeful person doing something with a long-suffering person does drive home some good comedy.
Yeah.
Because Affleck is super into singing this Christmas tree, and Gandolfini's like, oh, Christmas tree, you stand in forest beauty.
And I think they have there's a clever, quick little moment here where Tony actually corrects Affleck on one of the lyrics.
Yes, because he says summer snow for some stupid reason.
Yeah, and then Tony corrects him, and then Affleck kind of smiles that he corrected him. Like he's happy about that.
Well, because he sings the summer part in the next verse, and he's like, "You're right." That's what that look said to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we like the Christmas tree, and then Christina Applegate shows up because that newsflash, this family also has a daughter,
and she's the well-adjusted one.
Yes, and she is looking good.
She looks fantastic, and it's funny because everybody else in the house who lives in the house proper, not Ben Affleck, look defeated, miserable, absolutely, like I said before, long suffering. She shows up, she's put together, she's got her upper middle class look going on. She's clearly a professional, successful woman. I don't know. She was the only one who managed to dive into the deep end of the gene pool in this situation.
Yeah, it's true. I do like. Well, actually, when she showed up, I just wrote down the note, "We are Christina Applegate," because her reaction to everything is basically ours.
Yes. Because she
why
can't
are
believe
you doing
this.
this?
Exactly, yeah.
You are a bunch of psychopaths. Can somebody please say something that makes sense? And I did get a genuine laugh here. Maybe it was just Affleck's delivery, but when she shows up and he says something along the lines of like, "Well, I never had a sister before, so this is bullshit."
Yes, I actually have that too. This is some bullshit right here.
Yeah, this is some bullshit right here. This is a pretty funny line.
And he keeps trying to make her Hispanic for some reason.
Yeah, that was weird.
Because she was like, well, maybe you can be the maid, Consuelo.
and at this point, Catherine O'Hara is the first one who's kind of trying to help more than anyone else. Mm-hmm. Like, help Affleck. Because she's like, you're my long-lost love child.
Yes, and well, I mean, I think that, well, I mean, obviously she wants the $250,000, but...
Yes.
For her, and I don't want to read too much into these characters because I know what's gonna happen. It's like I'm gonna read all this stuff into them, and you're gonna be like, Nathan, I think you're putting far too much thought into these people. I don't think they're drawn that deeply. But she comes across as she's sad. She wants more out of the situation that they're in. Mm-hmm. You know, like she goes for later when she goes for the photo shoot, and Affleck tells her that she's beautiful, and she's really taken by that. It's almost like no one talks to her or about her like that anymore, and that I think that's what she's kind of trying to do here. Is she's trying to help him because by helping him, I think she's gonna help herself.
You know what? I'm not gonna say that you're looking too deep into it, but I will say that this is probably the most thought this script has ever gotten, and that includes the people who wrote it.
Well, here's the thing that with this movie, I feel that a lot of people put the hate behind is because it's a very cynical movie. Like the characters, like Gandolfini and O'Hara and all them, their characters are very miserable, and I think the problem with it is that a lot of people who may have seen it kind of saw a bit of themselves in it and don't care for that.
Yeah, I mean that certainly can be one criticism. It does have a lot of issues though.
Yes.
I also have this note at this point. Does this movie end with Ben Affleck murdering everyone? Because that's where
he really does come across as like, if this doesn't go just right, I'm gonna kill every single one of you.
But not before we get a screenwriting a script meeting, which would have been nice to have on this movie, and the introduction of Dooda.
Oh my god. No, before we get to that, because I have the note about the hired grandpa, let's talk about the assault he commits on the son with snowballs, and then James Gandolfini comes out and returns in kind.
Oh yeah, with ice balls.
With ice balls. Affleck's all bruised up and red when he comes in. We said no ice balls.
He's like, oh, did we say that? Okay.
And he is one of the few times Tony's having a really good time.
I feel like they have to have, because I think they have like a couple of moments where he kind of gets the upper hand. I feel like they need that, because you need Affleck to be taken down a peg like a few times.
Yes.
And that's just one of those scenes, yeah.
I felt that the script was a little self-serving towards Ben Affleck. I mean, the script that he wrote in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say, the movie script? Are you sure?
And then we get to the hired grandpa.
Yeah, Dooda.
Dooda.
An interesting character.
Yes, most definitely.
A community theater actor who also apparently likes to smoke pot.
Yep.
And has well, actually, I don't want to give that part away yet, but there's another thing about him too. Two other things, I guess. But yeah, he just shows up, and of course, Tony Soprano's like, I didn't say he could stay here. What the hell's going on? This is not in the contract. And he's like, actually, it is part of it, so...
No, he offers him an extra 25 grand or something.
You're right.
So then they got
$25,000,
right, and then they take Dooda out so they can go Christmas shopping, and they go to Santa's village, which is Santa's southern village, because it's in a trailer.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. I thought they were either in a trailer or like one of those like fallout shelters.
No, it was an Airstream trailer, and there's like a Cadillac parked out in front of it, so it's like Santa's Alabama village.
And again, they're in Chicago.
Yes. Well, I meant to come over from Indiana, so I mean, because that's just right across the line.
Okay. It's still a little strange. I thought the setting of that was weird.
Yeah.
Why not just have them go to the mall? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because the neighborhood that they live in doesn't look like it's, I don't want to say white trash, but white trash. So, you know, you think they'd be able to make it to a mall.
Yeah.
And a decent Santa.
Oh, I forgot to mention that when Dooda is introduced, Tony Soprano says, "Get me the shovel."
Yes.
Like, he's gonna clock him, this 80-year-old man, in the head.
It's an intruder in his house.
He's an old man.
Stand your ground, Brandon. Stand your ground.
Oh, God. Let's bring that law up here.
Yeah, not.
Okay, now this is a situation where I may have been looking too much into this, but I thought, you've seen A Fish Called Wanda?
Yes.
Okay. I thought there was a moment, because Ben Affleck almost gets hit by a car at this point while they're at Christmas shopping, and this guy's like...
walks across the street.
Yeah, doesn't look.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, asshole! And it sounded very Fish Called Wanda, Kevin Kline.
Well, you know, it might have been an homage to a better movie.
Kevin Kline, was that you? Get at us on Twitter.
He's not getting at us on Twitter.
I don't think he has anything on social media. Oh, Kevin Kline, what have you done?
Not a lot lately.
Ben Affleck also tries to feed a sugar cookie to a diabetic man.
Yes.
He tries to give it to Dooda.
He's like, yeah, the real Dooda was not diabetic, so that dog ain't gonna hunt.
Yeah, he's like, listen, if you give me that cookie, I won't be able to play alive or something like that. And he's like, no, just eat it. It's fine. So I guess this is where, like you were talking about Catherine O'Hara earlier, is she feels inadequate.
Yep.
And this is definitely the scene where we get the big payoff to that, because Ben Affleck says Ben Affleck finds out from Tony Soprano that their marriage is in shambles, and they're
talking about splitting up.
Which, by the way, we should mention too. At the same time, Brian, the son, it has been moved from the bedroom to the living room to the garage, like, because of all these people showing up. And he is straight up like gonna become a crazy person after this movie.
Well, he even makes reference to it later on.
They should do like a Surviving Christmas 2 where it's just him murdering everyone.
Which just turns into Silent Night, Deadly Night 6.
Yeah. Do it.
I did really like the impassioned speech that Affleck gave to Catherine O'Hara in this portion where he's basically saying that she's beautiful and no one's told you that in a long time. But I couldn't help but notice the awesome WWF board games that the kid had in his room.
I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah, he had I think he had the WrestleMania board game, and I think there was like a WWF trivia game on the shelf in the background.
Where was the scene with them playing WWF trivia?
Oh my god, that would have been amazing.
Just for 20 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, so he basically says, listen, you're going to go get this photo shoot. You'll feel a lot better. It'll make you feel sexy. It'll make you feel, beautiful
Young
and
and
everything.
invigorated and
Invigorated. And so she goes, so enter Udo Kier, the weird photographer, and his strange assistant.
It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie.
This scene is odd.
He's like, you look so sexy, and she does not look sexy at all.
Oh no, the way he's done her up, she looks like a mess.
Not in that first shot anyways, yeah.
He's got her on like a motorcycle and stuff, and like spreading her legs like over her head.
They played Warren's Cherry Pie for the photo
sure
shoot.
did.
It was awesome.
So she does that, makes Tony Soprano notice her a bit more, and he says, "You look good." No,
she does not.
She does not look good.
It's funny because she doesn't look good at the photo shoot. She doesn't look good at the end of the photo shoot when she comes back. There are several outfits that she wears during the photo shoot that she could have wore home, and he could have been like, yowza. Because she actually did look good in a few of those. Oh, he also bought a new car.
Yes.
Or old car, but
and he
classic
kind
of
references that they should, maybe get inside and give it a test drive, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Because they're kind of recapturing their youthful love for each other. I guess.
Yes. Thank goodness there was no sex scene in this movie. Don't think I could have.
Bada boom!
Realest guy in the room. Oh boy, that would have been a difficult one. So Affleck's trying to connect with other members of the family now. I think we pretty much get the sense that he has a bit of a thing for Christina Applegate.
Yeah, a little bit.
But he's still, I don't know, like the girlfriend thing is still in his mind too, because like I think because the reason he kind of did this in the first place was because of something she said.
Well,
so
what happened was, okay, we'll backtrack this whole story because it takes like no time. He does the Fiji thing. She's like, no, I'm spending time with my family. You should do the same thing. She takes off. He gets his assistant to order a Cartier bracelet for her. And he's like, write something that's really heartfelt and emotional from my heart. But what do you want to say? I don't know. You do it. You're better at it than I am.
Yeah. And she's like, this will not work.
Yeah. So he sent that as a last ditch effort, but he hasn't heard back from her. So as far as for all intents and purposes, they're still broken up.
Yeah. He doesn't think she'll do anything.
Right. And let's go back to Dooda's smoke break.
Yes, because Dooda has a joint.
He has convinced Christina Applegate to go tobogganing.
Oh, not Dooda, Ben Affleck.
Right.
That would have been something. The rest of the movie is about the blossoming romance between Christina Applegate and Dooda. Oh, we know later that
she's not middle-aged enough for him.
Exactly. I was going to say we'll know later that's not what Dooda is into.
Yeah.
So Ben Affleck takes Christina Applegate and the brother, but the brother takes off.
Well, no, they go to a super underwhelming hill. That he called Breakneck Hill. And he's like, obviously it was a lot scarier when I was a kid. Let's do this right. And he hires a helicopter to take them to a mountain where Brian makes a fantastic Sonny Bono reference.
How does he know who that is?
Well, he died skiing like in like the last year or two at that point.
Yeah, but even then, like, do you think Brian is like the target audience for a Sonny and Cher type thing?
It's not a Sonny and Cher thing. It's a senator from Palm Springs thing.
It's the same person.
It is, but here's the thing. He's not making this reference in regards to Sonny and Cher. Sonny Bono had died like in the last year or so, and it was like all over the news, and he died while skiing. He hit a tree.
No,
that's the joke there. As
no,
flat as it
know.
falls.
I know that I know that that's what he was referencing. It struck me as a little weird, just the age of the character and like what that clearly like when does he have time to Google Sonny Bono? Is that between all the porn he's looking at?
Well, he
like,
wouldn't have had a chance to Google it. He might have had a chance to web crawler it, Alta Vista it, or Yahoo it.
Did he ask Jeeves?
He might have, because it was 2004. And he does spend a lot of time on the internet, so, you know, eventually you got to take a break. As dedicated to internet pornography as you might be, there's got to be some time where you have to rest up, and that's the perfect time to get caught up on the news cycle.
Wait, are you talking about me or Brian?
Brian.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he does make a Sonny Bono joke. And then, so Christina Applegate and Ben Affleck, after much convincing, decide to go tobogganing down this death hill. And they play a song from Dumb and Dumber. Did you notice that?
Was that
the one that's like, he goes way too fast.
That's what that... I knew I recognized it. I was like, I got to look that song up, because that sounds like some really awesome late 90s girl punk.
And well, it would have been, I think it would have been like early 90s for Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
But here's the thing, in Dumb and Dumber, it's like a very similar scene, because it's the song that plays when Jeff Daniels and like Lauren Holly are having their kind of like their date in the like at the ski resort.
But that's I think they're doing it so they can hit that line, slow down, you're gonna crash.
Oh, for sure. It's just funny how it's a very similar situation.
Yeah. Cub. Man, I gotta look that up.
They could have died like 12 times on the way down that hill.
Well, yeah.
Like, there were so many trees. They're just very carefully maneuvering their way around. And then, of course, you know, their near-death experience on the toboggan bonds them, and they immediately fall in love.
Which seemed really tacked on to me.
Oh, yeah. You mean that didn't feel, like, genuine and kind of realistic?
No, not in the least.
Because they almost kiss, but then, Christine Applegate's got the sniffles.
She sneezes right in his face.
Yeah, and he's like, that's okay.
And then they both have, you know, tuberculosis.
Yeah.
It might be a common cold. It's never really stated.
I think it's a common cold, but I like where you're going with it. Yeah, so there's a bunch of, like, you know, they're being all cutesy with each other.
Yep.
I think this is where she tells them about, like, her maybe, I don't know, maybe this is
when she was walking home, and she was like, it was special to her because he asked her about Christmas and what, you know, if there was any special moments that she remembers growing up, and then she talks about how when she was walking home one day and the tree that had, like, it was like an ice storm tree, like it was all frozen, she felt like an ice princess.
Yeah, and well, and I wrote this down. I just thought it was funny, just based on, you know, she calls it a magical crystal palace, and I just pictured, like, you know, Crystal Palace,
that closed amusement park in Moncton.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's out for all our local listeners out there. The Crystal Palace amusement park in Moncton and Dieppe.
Is that the only one though? I thought it was like in other places.
No, there's other places too, but it's not an affiliation. It's not like a chain or something like that.
Okay.
Were you off-put by the amount of soundstage work that was done in this movie?
There appeared to be a lot.
A lot indeed.
Yeah. Are you referring to, like, all the interior scenes in the house?
Not only just that, that scene in the park that's coming up that he tries to recreate, that's a soundstage. There's the parts at the end where they have their kind of back and forth in what's supposed to be the outdoors, and it's clearly the indoors. You know, it's there was a lot. There was a lot of soundstage work done in this movie, and it was really quite noticeable.
Yeah, and I will say so. So you mentioned the frozen tree memory that she tells him. She tells Affleck. So he tries to recreate that for her.
Yes.
Now, first of all,
he says it from beautiful to tacky in 2.5 seconds.
Right, and like I know we can't see those people outside of the frame getting ready to move in, but how does she not see them?
An excellent point.
I just
they were
like,
off in the wings on the soundstage that they were on, because that was clearly a soundstage shot.
Oh, 100%. But guys, if you haven't seen the movie, it literally, they are just outside the frame. She sees the beautiful tree with ice, entirely iced over, and then they literally come into frame in 2 seconds. This big elaborate song and dance dealio.
Yes.
And he definitely goes over the top, but I still don't know how she didn't see them outside. Hey, it's kind of weird that all those people are just standing there waiting. That's not got anything to do with what you're about to show me, is it?
Flash mob.
Yeah. Oh, who knew a flash mob would show up here? I wrote... I don't know why I wrote this down. Oh, just that at one point... Brian is on his computer and it just says naked Asian massage therapists.
Well, this is when Dirty Grandpa shows up.
Okay.
Because he's checking out his stuff and he's like, hey Brian, what are you looking at there?
This scene, even before the reveal, this scene is disturbing.
Yes, because the guy is like, he's super old and he's like, hey, let me watch porn with you.
Yeah. So Dooda comes in Brian's room while he's looking at porn, but I don't know why Brian just doesn't turn off the monitor.
Yes, because it was just a simple click of the button away.
Yeah, it's funny.
Or
it's a
Control Alt Delete Lock.
Yeah, it's a dumb movie thing.
Windows symbol L. Okay, just a Windows symbol and then L. That's it. Locks the screen.
It's a really dumb movie thing where like someone will bust in and then suddenly there'll be like 20 ads, or like they won't know how to do it, or like they frantically press keys but nothing works. Like,
yeah,
that's not what happens.
Again, I don't feel that directors know how things work sometimes.
I made Deuce Bigelow. We didn't have any computers in that one, so I'm not sure about this one, guys.
So Brian is more than glad to watch porn with Dooda.
Yeah, middle-aged hotties
like,
is what
Dooda
requests.
He's like, what are you into, essentially?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, middle-aged hotties. What did they say? Old enough to know what they're doing, still young enough to want to do it.
Oh, boy. That scene is very problematic.
And becomes even more so.
Yeah.
Because...
they find a picture of Catherine O'Hara from the photo shoot.
Fantastic.
On a porn site. Doing the V for victory.
Yes.
With her legs.
Oh,
do you find they spend a lot of time from this point to the reveal later when the rest of the family shows up? Like, I know that Brian, you're supposed to believe he's like mortified and stuff, but I think I would have said something quicker.
I think he's supposed to be that he's just so broken, but this goes back to one of my notes here. Not only does Dooda get a line in, dude, it's your mom. Everything else really, from this point on, feels real sitcom-y.
Yes.
Like,
yes, there's literally like a Three's Company thing happening later.
I really, like, the whole time I'm waiting for the laugh track.
Yeah. It's like if you watch one of those videos where people have edited scenes in the sitcom and taken out the laugh track. Like, it's that awkward sometimes.
Yes. And then we get a chance to meet Missy and her folks real quick.
Oh yeah, her
scene.
lovely parents.
They seem like the worst, don't they?
Oh Lord, I don't even like. I mean, she is worse than he is, but I mean, he's not a whole lot better.
And what is up with her hair?
Missy's hair?
Yes, she looks like a conehead.
Oh, I read who the actress is too. Apparently she played like Kirk's mom in something, like Captain Kirk's mom.
It would have to be
It was obviously a flashback, but like
the Chris Pine.
It must have been
Star Trek. Had to be.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So she was married to Liam Hemsworth, at least in the movie.
Something else too, like fairly well known. But anyway,
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, this actress was married to him in a movie.
In a movie.
Oh, okay.
Because Chris Hemsworth is Chris Pine's dad.
I am so confused. What is going on? I'm already confused. There's already too many Chris's.
Well, can you imagine if Chris Evans had shown up?
I will. Okay. Side note: I literally don't know when it's Chris Pine or Chris Evans.
Really?
Like, I will think back to a movie and be like, "Oh, have you seen that movie?" Blah blah blah. I actually said to someone, "Yeah, Wonder Woman. Chris Evans was really good in it." Like, I have no idea.
Chris Pine.
I can't tell them apart.
Here's an easy way. If it looks like, or if you're remembering it like it could have been Zach from Saved by the Bell, it was Chris Pine.
See, I don't remember Saved by the Bell enough to have that help me.
You know, Mark Paul Gosselaar is though. Oh my God, Brandon, what is wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
What were you thinking?
Somebody, please. I know. Somebody, please help me. Somebody, tell me who Chris Pine is.
I don't get it. Just because the can you imagine if Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pine, Chris Evans, and Chris Pratt were all in the same movie?
I would die. I can tell. I have no problem telling Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt apart, or them from like any of the other Chris's. But Chris Pine and Chris Evans, I can't do it. I don't know why.
I don't understand. Like, because I know right away as soon as I see him. I without to risk sounding, slightly on the other side of the fence. Chris Pine. Oh my goodness, the blue steel, right down the barrel every time he looks into the camera. That guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the eyes of, oh my goodness, I gotta stop.
Nathan is revealing more about himself than he thought he would today.
As we've done it before.
Yeah, so again, guys, I have no clue. I can tell you the only thing I can most assuredly tell you is that Chris Evans was in the Disney Fantastic Four and that Chris Pine was in Into the Woods. But if I wouldn't have like read that before I saw the movies, I wouldn't have had a single clue. There you go. Where were we?
I believe we got back. Everything was a sitcom. Missy's hair. What is up with her hair? She looks like a cone head.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. That is a wild do.
Well, we don't get a whole lot of chance to ponder what's going on with her hair because Dooda's understudy shows up. And he's black.
Yeah, or as Ben Affleck says, is he a black?
Was that a line? I did not catch that one.
I'm pretty sure he said, is he black?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let's talk about what leads to this too, because Missy actually loves the bracelet that she got from earlier in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And she calls Affleck at the house because, you know, his assistant told her where he was and everything, because he told his assistant, yeah, I'm with my family. So she just assumed, oh, he's with his family. Okay. And Missy is like, I'm right outside. I'm coming in to hang out with you and your family. That's
where I know where it switches over from a movie to a sitcom.
Right.
That's a very sitcom-y thing to do.
He's like, oh God, we got to pretend you're my real family.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
After he's already told them that he's done, because he's upset about how, you know, Christina Applegate thought that earlier thing was really tacky and she didn't really want to talk to him anymore. So he's done. He's ready to give them their money. That happens, and he's like, okay, never mind. Here's more money. Please pretend to be my family still. So enter Dooda's understudy.
Exactly. Well, okay. So Missy's and their family come in, and yeah, the Dooda's understudy comes in. Missy's mom makes a fantastic comment about their tree reminding her of Mexicans.
I missed that one.
Oh my god, she's like, it's really it's loud and but in a good way, and but tacky and bright and like this time when we were in Mexico and they were doing up their Christmas tree, words to that effect.
Oh,
she's
yes,
essentially
okay.
saying that your tree is tacky and loud, but trying to make it sound like in a good way.
And also, I'm vaguely racist.
Yes.
Yeah, so okay, and then this was where Dooda's understudy comes in, which Soprano Tony Soprano sees the understudy at the door and then closes it quickly and wants to tell like Affleck about the fact that he's black guy, obviously, because it's gonna look odd, but he doesn't tell him. Like he just
lets
he could
him
have
in.
easily said, "Listen, it's a black guy.
Yeah,
it's probably not good. It's probably gonna look weird because we're all of us are white."
It gets weirder.
Yeah. Are you referring to when they go upstairs?
Or I know I'm more referring to the fact that he's getting kind of handsy.
Yeah, with Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah, who's I guess supposed to be his daughter. And even if we're operating under the assumption that they're believing that that's his daughter in some sort of stepfather adoptive kind of way, it's still really gross and creepy.
Yeah, it's pretty damn creepy. We also get Catherine. They want to see baby pictures, so Catherine O'Hara hands over a picture of her daughter in the bathtub.
It says it's Ben Affleck.
He says it's him, and they say, "Well, where's your dingle?" They actually use the word dingle.
Yeah, it's so long I says, stuck it back.
Oh, just like you said, sitcom. Because no one in the real world would believe any of this.
No one in the real world would say that.
No one would say dingle. I will challenge anyone out there. Hold on.
I would.
You
may
have said dingle, and I'm sure you say dingle, but I would challenge anyone out there in a family setting.
To use the word dingle.
Use the word dingle. Prove me wrong.
We get a very shouty Christmas, because everybody starts arguing, and it's revealed that Ben Affleck and Christina Aguilera were making out in the kitchen.
Did you say Christina Aguilera?
Sorry, Christina Applegate.
Ben Affleck.
And then Pink is off to the side going, "Oh, what are you doing? Oh, stop it."
But yeah, so she shows back up, and they start making out.
Yeah. Well, no, because that's already happened.
Yes.
But this is the part where everything kind of starts to break down, because he says to Christina Applegate, "You need to pretend to be my sister." And she starts kind of needling him in the way that she's like, "Oh my God, I've heard so much about you. You're such a liar. She is totally not fat."
And this is also after she sees him kiss Missy too, though.
And this is why she's doing that.
Yeah.
Because she's upset now, because she thought, "Oh, he's changed. No, he hasn't. Oh, he's changed. No, he hasn't." Exactly. Sitcom again.
Yeah.
And this is where we get the really shouty back and forth stuff where he's like, they reveal that they kind of made out. And they're like, and to draw attention away from all this, she's like, "Let me take you on a tour." Catherine O'Hara's like, "Let me take you on a tour." And they go up to AJ's room, Brian's room.
It's basically AJ.
Yeah. And,
yeah.
More mom porn.
Yeah, she's still on his screen. He's been staring at it the whole time we've been watching all this other stuff happen. He hasn't moved.
Because he's broken.
Even for a comically catatonic scene, that is a long time.
Yes.
Oh man. So everyone's obviously freaking out. Especially Tony Soprano, who says, "Listen, I'm gonna go to the hotel or whatever. I'm gonna go to the Winter Lodge or whatever he says. I can't stay in here. Who gave you that dumb idea?"
Travelodge.
Travelodge. Also, going back to that, why did Affleck send her to photographers that were skeevy like that?
Well, here's the thing. He didn't know that. He just thought he was one of the top fashion model photographers in Chicago.
But you don't think he knew that they operated like a porn website?
Yeah, he's in ads. I mean, he might not have. The photographer might have not even operated that. He might have just sold it, because that's the sort of thing that happens with photographers. They sell their photos to third party.
Yeah.
So,
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, let's do that then. And Brian just smashes his fucking computer.
Yeah, that's another genuine laugh, I think, from me. Because he just smashes it and says, there's some things that can't be unseen.
Yep.
And that's the payoff to him having a computer the whole movie. Is that eventually he just destroys it.
Yeah.
So, man, this opens the floodgates. The Missy's parents now start going at it. Not going at it, but start arguing.
Right. And
we find out that
you get off your high horse.
Yeah, and also we find out that's not even Missy's father.
No, because he's like, you tricked me. You got knocked up by Skippy Upshelter and tricked me into marrying you.
What was the name he said?
Skippy Upsheller.
Skippy Upsheller.
Upsheller, yep.
That, you know what? I'm going to make a note of that because come August.
That's going to the Manos handouts.
Yeah. Not even a character in the movie, just a character named in the movie. Skippy Upsheller. That's insane.
And we get an awesome line from Dooda's understudy where he's like, "Man, Yuletide is a bitch."
Yeah. And when they start mentioning the incest thing, because they think Affleck obviously making out with Christina Applegate is incest because they think it's a sister. The understudy is like, all right. Starts moving closer to Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah.
It's strange. Why is Dooda not there? Because his play is not that night.
Well, he's the understudy.
Yeah.
But his play is that night. I mean, Brendan, if it's a community theater, they're going to run a few nights. They're not going to just run one night.
Is that true? I don't know.
Yeah, you get usually you get anywhere from a 4 or 5 day run on a weekend to up to a full 2 weeks possibly, depending on the kind of arts support you have in the community.
Okay, follow-up question. Why didn't Affleck check to see who the understudy was?
Because we switched from film to sitcom mode.
Oh yes, you're right.
Right. But we do get his real story.
Why did I write down this whole thing takes an even darker turn with the dead family thing?
Well, because he talks about his real story.
Right.
Where he talks about how his dad left them when he was young, and his mom had to work shifts on Christmas, so they never really had Christmas. He would just maybe go down to the diner, and while she was working, and she'd give him pancakes, and he'd spend Christmas in a diner because she was more than glad to pick up the money so they could get by and live. And that's why he's never ever gone to a cafe since.
Yeah, and then he's like, I have this fear of diners.
Yes. It's definitely a tonal shift, which this is like the third or fourth one at this point. But this is where you get that really maudlin, very typical Christmas movie character reveal.
Yeah, and this was the part I was talking about. I feel like stuff like this, it's a real cop-out.
And he could have, honestly, again, if he was looking to take his girlfriend to Fiji for Christmas, this is something that should have been covered in the relationship previously.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's hard to get behind him, too, in general.
Yeah. So everybody goes their separate ways, defeated and shamed. Affleck goes back to Chicago, watches the Mr. Magoo Christmas special. And
as one does.
Yes, as one does. And Tony Soprano shows up because you owe me money.
Yeah. He's like, you haven't paid me yet. And he's like, oh, right. Now, this sets up one of the most one of the biggest plot conveniences I think I've ever seen.
Well, it is, again, we're talking again about a salad of writers.
Yeah.
When you get down to it, but they do have there's a good exchange here, because like if this was supposed to be a learn your lesson, redeemable people type movie from the get-go, this whole scene even before would have made sense, because he says something along the lines of they're leaving, like they're still going to get their divorce, and right. He's like, it's funny, I paid you, I'm paying you money to be part of your family, and you're leaving it all behind, or leaving it, throwing it all away.
Mm-hmm.
Which is an excellent little scene for a movie that is supposed to build to something like that. The unfortunate thing is that they're so shallow sometimes. The characters are so two-dimensional and awful that it shouldn't be leading to that. It should just be leading to a bad Santa type ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just very like it feels very just pile it all on in one scene.
So they all go to the play so they can wrap everything up in one place.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's the thing. Like I would have maybe been more accepting of like a big Christmas tree lighting ceremony or something, but this community theater play is like the hot ticket in town. Like every single person is there on Christmas.
Yes.
Instead of being with their family, they're watching this probably not great play.
That's a Christmas Carol. I mean, at least the source material is good.
You see, there is also, they show up and he says, hey, he's not bad. And James Gandolfini's like, well, he's not good either.
He's not that good, no! Or Statler and Waldorf when you need them.
Oh, yeah.
I did like the exchange between Gandolfini and Catherine O'Hara, where he's like, I don't want to go. And she's like, well, then don't go. Well, fine, I'm not going. All right, then don't go. I have a note here. This is Irish marriage counseling.
I am like, I can feel the chemistry between them in that scene. Yeah, that's basically how they make up. And then Brian has the hots for a female of the Asian persuasion,
of course,
and which is a little disturbing because of what he was looking at earlier.
Which is actually kind of on the nose considering what he was looking at earlier.
Yes, but also like, oh, Brian's not gonna know what to do. She has clothes on.
Well, it's a new time in his life.
This is also the only scene where Ben
helps
Affleck
him get hooked up. Yes, exactly. He helps him get hooked up.
He really doesn't give a solid shit about him for the rest of the movie, but at this one scene, this is like his redeeming thing.
He's like the first person he pelts with snowballs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He tortures this kid. And of course, we got to have everyone get back together. So we got to have Affleck get together with Christina Applegate.
I have an excellent note here, a review from Patty from when we were watching this.
Yeah.
Huh. He's got a butt chin.
Affleck does?
Yes.
Oh yeah, he does.
His chin looks like a butt.
Yeah, I agree.
So they make up and just make out super hard in front of the community theater, just in time for Missy and her family to roll by and see for some reason. Why are they still in town?
I don't know. Yeah, they've just been like circling the block.
Because the debacle happened the night before.
That's
he
true.
has time to go back to Chicago, $72.50 later, back to Chicago, sit down and watch the Magoo Christmas special. Gandolfini has time to take $72.50 and go to Chicago and say, "You owe me money."
I'm hoping Gandolfini drove himself. He's not as stupid as Affleck's character.
That sweet car, why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I never even thought about that. Because, yeah, that is the next day. Why would did they just staying at the Travelodge too? Like,
not those people.
No. Like, maybe Missy was like, well, I'll give it one more go. Maybe they also were going to go to Dooda's play.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
They got there really late. They wanted the balcony seats.
Yeah, this is their "I never" moment from the mother, and the dad's like, "All right, gross."
Yeah.
Because for all intents and purposes,
incest.
they
Right
still
on.
think they're related. Exactly.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
Oh, and it all ends up in a cafe because Ben Affleck overcomes his dread of cafes.
And I actually had to... I read about that after, because I didn't even clue into that was him conquering his fear of diners. I was just like, oh, they're a diner. Cool, the end.
But did you notice that that Brian's there with his new girlfriend?
Oh,
they're like
yes.
at the counter in the background.
And that didn't take long at all, did it?
Not at all.
So on Christmas Day, I know we just met, but I'm a guy, you're a girl. Come with me and my fake family to this diner.
No, my real family and my fake brother.
Yeah. Well, I think... Was Dooda there?
I didn't notice.
Okay.
I really didn't, but
I
yeah,
think Dooda was probably soaking in the adulation after that play.
So there, we survived surviving Christmas, Brendan.
Hey, we're just going to take a quick break from the action. We'll be right back.
What Were They Thinking is brought to you by HostGator. HostGator is a leading provider of shared, reseller, VPS, and dedicated hosting solutions. Award-winning support is available 24/7, 365 days a year via phone, email, and live chat. Discover why over 9 million websites trust HostGator. Use the coupon code SCHLUCK for 25% off your first purchase. That's SCHLUCK, SCHLOCK, for 25% off your first purchase.
What Were They Thinking is brought to you today by GameItAll.com. Whether it's video game news, the latest in music, or movie reviews, GameItAll.com is your one-stop shop for all nerdy talk.
Oh man, all these wrestling news sites are terrible.
What's the matter, young lad?
Ah, Mother Superior! No, don't hit me!
Hey.
I can't find a good wrestling news site.
A good wrestling news site? What's so good about a good wrestling news site anyway?
Well, I just need a place where I could get all the backstage news and rumors and scoop.
All right.
Don't hit me! I left
Listen-
the orphanage a while ago.
All right, listen, Billy's younger brother. I'm not going to hit you this time.
Oh, thank you.
But I will tell you about a great wrestling news site.
Okay. It's not terrible like the last one, right?
It's not terrible like the last one. It's called WrestlingNewsWorld.com. You can get all the latest wrestling news, spoilers, results, all the news from all over the wrestling world.
That sounds great.
No,
Yeah.
yes, but you know what?
What?
It's not going to sound great if you keep up with that mouth of yours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, again, I left the orphanage a while ago. If you don't leave, I'm gonna tell my parents.
I have legal precedent over 37 states. Get back here!
No! Stop hitting me! Ow!
WrestlingNewsWorld.com.
What were they thinking?
Dun, 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 dun. I don't know what that was. It's an attempt at something.
Flourish to celebrate our surviving Christmas. Okay.
You get 2 flourishes for the price of 1.
All right.
We did survive.
Yes.
We did it. Hoi. So that was surviving Christmas. So I guess now, if you're ready, it's time for us to sum this up with about 17 syllables.
Right, a low haiku.
A low haiku.
Yes, a low haiku.
All right. Well,
Stay tuned for after the show when Garrison Keeler will be by.
well, I don't know if I don't think we can hire him anymore.
What?
Yeah, you didn't hear that?
Oh my God!
Yeah, he's on the list.
So here's the thing. We've discussed this before and how we were like, we'll just have to give it some time. Maybe a year or 2. At the rate that this list is growing, we're going to have to be like, 2 months, it's fine.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do all animated movies with no celebrity voices.
It just shitty dubbers who had nothing better to do, live in the Midwest.
Well, I guess you're gonna be happy because I guess we're doing a year of Gamera movies.
All right. Oh shit! Gamera just was accused by Gauss.
God damn it! All right, so it is time, of course, for low haiku.
Yes.
Did you want to? Did you still need some time, or are you ready?
No,
to go?
I'll go. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Surviving Christmas. Ben is the worst and the best. Don't know why all hate.
There you go. Sums up your thoughts on Surviving Christmas.
Yep.
All right. This movie is mean. Everyone is horrible. Ben, apologize.
All valid points.
And by horrible, I mean their characters, of course.
Yes.
Because they're all fairly decent as acting in the movie. Guys, if you don't believe us, you don't have to. Don't take our word for it.
Don't take a word for it.
No, but, you could, but don't, because there's lots of evidence that a lot of people hated this movie.
This is one of our lower rated movies. It's not the lowest.
7% with critics, 28% with audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just, if you don't mind, I'll read the consensus.
Okay.
I don't know if I hope this wasn't the review you were going to read, but it says, Surviving Christmas is unpleasant characters attacking each other for 90 minutes before delivering a typical hollow anti-consumerist message.
No, actually, the first one that I was going to read is Surviving Christmas is about as funny as a rubber crutch for Tiny Tim.
It's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. That is, and who is that from?
That is from Peter Howell from the Toronto Star.
This is a good one from Eric Lundegaard of the Seattle Times. There's a lot to not buy in Surviving Christmas. I recommend not buying.
Okay.
There are some harsh reviews on here.
Yep. Eric LaSalle from the Mick LaSalle, rather, from the San Francisco Chronicle says, maybe the worst thing that can be said for Surviving Christmas is that it doesn't succeed even on its humble level of aspiration.
Oof. David Germain from the Associated Press says, the movie is dead from the outset, given the artificiality of the premise about a lonely rich guy who hires the folks living in his boyhood home to be his family for the holidays.
Joshua Starnes, Surviving Christmas is a mediocre 90-minute sitcom. If you're looking for wit and humor, stay away.
My last negative one I'll read, because I will try to find a positive one here. But my last negative one is, peak on Earth and ill will toward men permeate this mirthless comedy. That's from J.R. Jones of the Chicago Reader.
Yeah.
It is hard to find a positive review.
I'm looking, and there is nothing coming back.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got a glowing one here.
Do you? Oh dear.
Yeah, from Tyler Hanley of Palo Alto Weekly.
Okay.
It's a major publication. This is a positive review, keep in mind. Yuletide cheer gets a kick in the shins with this funny but forced cinematic Christmas present.
I think that's really about as much as you can hope for.
Yeah. There's one that praises Ben Affleck, but
this is weird. This is a negative one, but it's Vince Kohler from Entertainment Spectrum says it was fun to see an early Christmas comedy.
Wait, what?
It was fun to see an early Christmas comedy.
And that's a negative review, and that's the quote they pulled.
It's a
from
negative. Yeah. I do have one. Okay, this one actually has the tomato next to it.
Okay.
From Betty Jo Tucker, Real Talk Movie News. Ben Affleck delivers a surprisingly on-target performance as a man who thinks money and grandiose gestures are the answer to everything.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just do one more. This is a negative one, but I saw it when I was looking through it, and it just made me laugh. It's from Eugene Novikov of Film Blather. We're really scraping the barrel here. What the film seems to find amusing is at best uncomfortable and at worst a little scary.
Okay.
He gave it an F.
This is a real quick one. It's my last one.
Okay.
It's a negative
All right.
one from Susan Granger, from motomag.com, and it's I saw it and I had to say it. You'll be sorry.
Oh,
It's spelled Y-U-L-E.
I know it is. God damn it. I mean,
Yeah.
good for you, Susan.
Yeah.
To hell with you, Susan. Well, that was Surviving Christmas. Those are the
Yes.
reviews. That was the low haikus. And now, how about some plugs?
The plugs. Yes.
Well, let's talk about your good friend.
Yes, my good friend Montrose Monkington III, Esquire. You can check him out on Facebook at Montrose Monkington III, Esquire and Friends. He also is on YouTube at Montrose Monkington TV. You can follow him on Twitter at Montrose the Third. That's number 3 RD. And he's on Twitter. There is going to be a Christmas special from Montrose forthcoming. There was actually just recently he covered the CFL, the Canadian Football League's version of the Super Bowl, which is the Grey Cup, which was pretty entertaining. And we've already got the best public domain cartoons money can buy, or not buy because it's public domain, lined up for Montrose's Christmas special. So check him out, Montrose Monkington III, Esquire. Thank you. More later.
And don't forget, you have a verbal commitment from a former guest of ours.
Oh, yes. I need to get in touch with him.
It was said on the air. He can't back out.
Get back out now.
You can also follow us, obviously, What Were They Thinking podcast, at WWTT podcast on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Well, we're on Facebook at What Were They Thinking. And obviously all the pod chasers around: iTunes, Podbean, Google Play, Stitcher, Podomatic. Actually, I don't think we're on Podomatic. I just made that up. We're on. Did I say YouTube?
Al Jazeera.
Yeah, Al Jazeera. Actually, yeah. We're speaking of Christmas specials. We're actually doing a big Christmas special on Al Jazeera this year, so be sure to check that out.
Oh, the guests, the celebrities that are going to be there.
We pulled a lot of strings, guys. So
A lot of strings.
be sure you tune in to our Christmas special on Al Jazeera, February 28th at 3 a.m. It's gonna be
there we go.
Oh, yeah. I think that's it. So I guess I just have. I guess I
You
just
got
have one
questions?
question. I have a couple.
You have a quiet. Well, fire away, my friend.
Well, all right. I mean, in a movie where Ben Affleck is a straight up psychopath,
Right.
and in a movie that doesn't think anything's out of the ordinary when an old man and a teenage boy look at porn together,
Correct.
and in a movie where tons of improv, but you're not giving much of that to the only person trained in improv.
Mm-hmm.
And in a movie with some of the biggest plot conveniences of all time.
Oh, don't forget the writer's salad, Brendan.
Yes. And yeah, the writer's salad obviously had a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then a movie with a Christmas movie with incestuous overtones.
That was released in October.
That was released in October.
Mm-hmm.
I just gotta know.
What's that, my friend?
What were they thinking?
What were they thinking?
Hey, it's Brendan again here from the What Were They Thinking podcast. Obviously, you should know it's me by now. So because of our schedule switch around, we didn't do the clue, obviously, this episode. So I thought I'd pipe in and give you guys the clue for our next movie. And here it is. Our next movie is a sequel to a movie that we covered on this show. And that's it. See you next week.
Hi, Hi, I'm Ellen, and I'm scared we exist in the Matrix.
I'm Jaslyn, and I'm bad at ad-libbing.
And you're listening to
High
Expectations, the promo. For our international listeners, you can appreciate our cute New Zealand accents. For our local listeners, you might bump into us in the street 3 times in the same hour. Our podcast is about pop culture,
Sexuality,
relationships,
interesting hobbies.
banter, and ragging on each other.
You can find us on
Apple Podcasts,
SoundCloud,
Pocket Casts,
Podcast Addict.
or anywhere you might like to find podcasts.
Yay, please subscribe.
Goodbye!
Hey, do you like movies?
Hey, do you like podcasts?
If you do, then come on down and listen to the Home Video Hustle podcast, homie.
Hustle.
Every Friday, we talk about whatever movie PJ picks out the bag. What does that mean? Well, every Wednesday on our YouTube page, I pick a bunch of movies at random. Sometimes there's a theme to it, sometimes not. PJ picks the movie out, and guess what? We watch it on Friday. We talk about it for about maybe an hour and a half, whatever we feel like doing. Might give you something good to watch, baby. Come on down every Friday.
So come get your hustle on with Home Video Hustle.
You can find the show on any podcatcher app, or you can come down to homevideohustle.podbean.com. All of them in one place for you, so you can go ahead and binge it like it's Netflix. We ain't the defenders, but I like to think we a little bit better than that. Come holler at your boys, man. Come chill with us. Peace.
It's time, let's check our cue, baby. Pair it with a couple brews, baby. We love good movies. We love the bad ones too. So we watch them all and pass their lessons on to you. Oh yeah. Everything I learned from movies helps to make life a little bit groovy. With a one-liner plot holes and gratuitous movies. It's time to get busy with your friend Steve and Izzy. At eilfm.podbean.com.
Hi, I'm Phil.
Oh, did someone just sign off of AOL?
I'm Paul.
I really don't have a lot on this.
Oh my god, this is rolling off the rails real quick. And I'm Dennis. I am so mixed up today, just don't even listen to me anymore.
And together we are...
Voltron! Well, no, not Voltron. We are Useless Debates in Pop Culture, a weekly...
Or we at least try to be.
...podcast that allows you to pick the winner.
Ding, ding.
By no means
the internet strikes again.
Yeah, for sure. We'll debate anything.
So if you want to hear debates on such useless topics as Best Val Kilmer Role,
Tombstone, or Best Movie Soundtrack,
American Graffiti, or the most successful former boy band member,
JT,
then tune into our show.
Your podcast is so well named.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts /iTunes,
Podbean, and Google Play.
And our website, uselessdebate.com.
All right, there we go. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Noelle Heil, the host and creator of Heil on Life, the podcast where I talk one-on-one with people who inspire me. My guests come from all walks of life, different jobs and careers, and they all have different motivations that have helped them throughout their lives. I find their stories fascinating and hope that you will too. To learn more, find me on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, YouTube, Tumblr, and Libsyn. And remember, we may have similar stories, but our journeys are all our own.